Hey, hi Gwen. Hi everyone. I'm online a little bit earlier. How is everyone? Hi. Hi René Du. Nice to see you again. Also hi to people on my website. Can you hear me proper? Because I'm speaking a little bit quiet today. I don't know why. Ciao. Ciao, ciao. How is everyone? As you maybe see, I'm in a new environment. This is my new place. I finally moved this weekend, which is incredible. So happy. Yeah, I'm going to show you the view later, if it's actually possible with my laptop and my phone at the same time. But out of my window, I can see the river in London, and it's sunny. You can hear me perfectly. Thank you, Gwen. Because this is also a new internet connection. So I hope everything goes smooth. And when there's any difficulties technically, you cannot hear me or anything, just let me know in the comments. Chastity, how are you? I'm just waiting for people to join. Also, funny thing, I moved this weekend and I didn't know that there won't be any cutlery or plates or pans or pots or anything like that. So the only thing that I have is my 2 crystal glasses that I drink out everything at the moment. I have 1 big serving plate, which I used to have for my fruits. I have a cake spatula that I use to, 1 pan I have. So I prepare everything in this pan with my cake spatula. Not a cake spatula, but the thing that you take the cake from the plate and put it onto the small plate. I don't even have a fork. So I've been eating a lot of fresh and raw food and drinking all my beverages out of crystal glasses. Oh. And 1 more. My friend Sylvia gave me 1 cup, which is good. So I'm just waiting for shops to open again, and I ordered like a starter pack of pans and pots on Amazon that hopefully arrive by the end of the week. Oh. I know, guys, you need to be creative and work with what you've got. Oh, I fried some veggie sausage this morning, and I ate it with a teaspoon. Like I cut it up, have 1 knife, and eat it with a teaspoon. Feels a little bit like camping. Just fine. I spent all my childhood going camping. If you come from a family with a lot of siblings, which I am, we are 11 in total. We didn't grow up together, all of us, but at most we were 5. And yeah, so camping it was. And there was a lot of not having a lot of cutlery and stuff. So I'm used to it, it's no problem. Anna, Didi, hi. How is everyone? Hi, how are you? Is it already 2:00? No. So the reason also why whoever's on my email list already had my email this morning. I always give a little bit more insight and information on my email list. And today I decided to read from one of my favorite books of all time, because first of all, I moved this weekend and I usually take a lot of time to prepare our session. Hi, Vita. And I just didn't have any. I'm barely on 2 feet again. And as you can see, I have my wardrobe back. I'm actually wearing a dress. I'm so happy. I'm wearing the same t-shirt for about 9 weeks now. And I have clothes and I have my earrings, and someone at work gave me some nail polish. So I'm feeling a little bit more like myself again. Yeah, as I said, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, or I did have time, but my mind was very squished and tired and exhausted from all the change to cope with. So I decided to read from one of my favorite books. Why am I reading from a book? Rike, you look amazing. Danke for the last video. It helped me a lot. You're welcome, Anna. What was my last video? Oh, yeah. 10 language tricks that will change your life. They really do. If you haven't seen it, like always, subscribe. I always send the previous session if you missed it, because everyone has a life, you know. No one is always available on Tuesdays. Subscribe, and I always send you the previous session as the recording directly in your inbox, all for free, so don't worry. Yeah, why reading from a book? People that know me, I love books very, very much. I think there's almost no day where I don't read. I have a lot of books. I don't hold on to a lot of books. If I feel they live their life with me, then I just pass them on, or I give them to a charity shop. But yeah, I made myself become a book person, because I think books are full of the good stuff. I didn't have a lot of money when I grew up. I didn't have a lot of resources in that area. So for me, books were always was like a world I could go into and learn so much when I didn't have the money to attend courses, or especially in circus school, and I was in training for 4 years, 8 hours a day. You're completely exhausted and also broke. I had, I think, 25 euro per week to eat, so there was no money left to educate myself and to, nurture my brain. I have a very hungry brain, and I always have to make sure that I feed it with the good stuff. And so books was something I always could afford, or I could borrow from friends, or people would give away. This was an easy and cheap way for me to get really high quality information and things to learn, and mostly things to improve my life and my business. So if you are a friend in my real life, not in my real life, but if you actually know me, then if you're my close friend, I'm sure you already own a book that I gave you. So I love to give books as presents for birthdays, for the people in my show. I produce a show, and I really care about everyone that works in my show. And there's books that I hand out. Then, of course, Christmas, everyone gets books in my family. It's usually a book that I just read and I think, this will change your life. You have to read it, because it had such an impact on me. And of course, I'm going to show you my favorite book of all times today. I'm going to read you also my favorite chapter of that. But my favorite book of all time is every week a different one, because there are so many, you cannot decide. At least I can't decide. So I'm going to read you from this book. And I also would like to know, you can just put it in the comments on my Instagram feed, or in the comments under the video on my website. What is your favorite book? I'm doing this for 2 reasons. Because first of all, I want to know more books, and I want to expand my library, and want to get new inspiration. And I want to hear not only what book, but also why you like this book so much. Because some people can read the same book for many different reasons, or read it again and again in different stages of your life, and you will suddenly understand something that you're like, this never occurred to me, or I never related to this. So I have books that I have read maybe over 15 times, because I know sometimes I read it, I develop this sense of, I read it and I know this doesn't make sense, so I keep it. And I know I will have to read it back maybe in 2 or 3 years. And I know then I will be able to use it for myself. I was so happy when you gifted me a book. Yes, I was so happy to gift you this book. It was really early in our friendship, actually, Didi, when we just started to become closer friends. But if you get a book from me, it's an absolute sign of love. It's more like, I care about you. I want you to have a better life. Beep. Yeah, so I think it doesn't need to be educational books or I mean, my personal taste is I think I've three types of books that fill my mini library at home, and it's one is the section of self development, and that's usually like I am really interested in finance books, mindset books, research about habits, um, all these kind of everything in this direction. And what comes to coaching, all of this goes in the self development corner. Then the other books are personal life related, which is I buy interior design magazines and garden design magazines. So, because I want to have my own house with a big garden, which is my biggest dream. So, this is the other section. And then the other section is, for some reason, I guess it's because of my mom, historical women. So I have books about Frida Kahlo, actually quite a lot. I grew up with my mom being the biggest fan of Frida Kahlo. So we had paintings and books and really inspired by her in our family. Then Audrey Hepburn, because my sister, my oldest sister, she was the biggest fan of Audrey Hepburn. She loved her eyebrows. So I have a couple of books about Audrey Hepburn. And of course, because I do so much Marlene Dietrich related, I've been actually being gifted. I don't think I actually bought one book myself um, about Marlene Dietrich. So Marlene Dietrich cookbooks, biographies, beautiful like coffee table books with prints of her. I have a lot of records from her. Um, so it's been a really interesting journey because people find these books all over the world and give them to me, and it's very precious. So that's the powerful women corner. That's the three areas of books that I personally enjoy. I guess there's more that I enjoy, but yeah, that's what I usually go to. Mm, today's book is I don't know if you know, but I had myself a life coach and a business coach, and I took in 2014 I took a business course. It's called B School. It's um, it's basically a business course designed for creative entrepreneurs because it's what I like anyway. I'm really interested in it. I'm always interested in finding hacks and tricks and knowledge and educating myself so I can do my art in a beneficial way and in a sustainable way and in a non-painful way. Um, and I always knew that the secret in doing that is in knowing enough in how to do it. At least this was the basic thing that I somehow gathered from people giving me advice or from people talking to me and sharing with me how they got where they got. I always used to, when I was still in circus school, I always used to even call my friend in Las Vegas, and I was like listening to her, how she lives her life and how she does the things. And I always talk to people that already made it. My first best friend in school was David Severance. He was already, I think he was graduating the year I joined circus school. So we used to just meet every weekend and talk about the business side and research the circus history. Just I didn't have a lot of knowledge geek friends, but I always talk on Niels Downker, which is an incredible juggler and magician. Also, because he knows so much about business, he is really on top of the game. Yeah, and they started recommending me books. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And they just borrowed them to me, which was great. Um, yeah, so I know at that point, okay, it must be something. And I saw the lack in circus school of business education and the actual, I mean, of course, we learned how to do bookkeeping. We learned a little bit how to make business cards. Very, very, very basic. But as I said, my brain is very hungry and I was very eager to do more. And I also saw other people doing so much more and I was frustrated. So a friend of mine, she organized Hoop Urbia, which was I think one of the world's first hula hoop festivals. and it was incredible. I didn't go there, but I met her on a job in Dubai when I worked for Cirque Éloise, which was one of my first contracts, was a corporate contract there. And she said, "Oh, I'm going to go and, I'm making this festival and doing this thing." And I was like, "What?" But you're just a circus artist. How can you do these things? And she was like, "Yeah, I just signed up for this business course. And yeah, it basically helps you to make any idea reality." And I was like, "Excuse me, can I please sign up?" So it gave me for the first time seeing a circus artist, which in the beginning I thought is, you make an act. I've always had the idea you are not an artist, but my perception was that it is an act that you make and then you sell that act, but it's not really more than that. And then my brain was, okay, this is super interesting. You can do so much with this job, or with this skill, being a circus artist. Or I think I was also, there is so much more to it that I could try, and you can go so much bigger in so many levels. Like, I don't know, write a book, create a festival, have the biggest touring show in the world. It's literally endless. And I think I slowly started to grasp the possibilities for me. So my little brainsies got even more hungry for, like, just tell me how. I will do anything, just tell me how. And then she said, okay, I signed up to this course, and she said, she told me how, and I did it, and it was a big success. And when I met her as an artist, she was so grounded and so certain. And when you see someone, you're just like, she knows what she's doing. I will believe what she says or what he says. And this was my experience from her. So she recommended me, and she also at that time was a mentor in this program. So actually I signed up through her, and she mentored me. She had basically all the students that were very, I think she had all the circus artists and a couple of dancers. So the people that I'm still connected with, they opened a dance school and a Pilates studio. And I think I was the only circus artist together with her. Yeah, so it changed a lot, this business course, or more the decision to, or more the understanding, and yeah, that learning business, or more learning mindset and business will help me to go as big as I actually really want to. Crystal glass. So this person, they gave this business course, or built this massive online business. Actually, she's called Marie Forleo. She is one of the world leading like thought leaders for creative entrepreneurs. Yeah, she worked with Oprah Winfrey, and yeah, she was a dancer herself in the past. So she's very funny, very crazy, and very determined, and a lot of things that I really like. Hi, Roxy. So, and this year she published her second book, actually, which I was so happy it finally came out. Because of course I follow her, I watch all her sessions, I did her course, but when someone gives, for example, online classes with a lot of cooking recipes, you just ask them 100 times, can you please write a cooking book? I want to have it at home and I want to put it close to my heart. That's kind of, me as a book lover, when this book came out, I was like, I pre-ordered, and I think I ordered 15 copies of it, because I was like, friends, guys, it's happening. And she came, actually, I always wanted to meet her. She actually came to London and had her book tour, and I went with two of my friends to see her speak about that book. And this entire theater in London was full of people, and it was really great to see, because I always felt like this loner here a little bit when it comes to business. And I saw people showing up and cheering, and yeah, being really into something that I'm so into. So this was a great experience to see, oh, these are my people, I guess, as well, which also made me, again, expand of what is possible, what I can be connected to if I want to, what community is there to join if I want to. Because often I'm not aware that actually there is so much, and I only have to reach out and connect and collaborate to make incredible things. Because I am an introvert. Not many people know that, but I talked about with a friend, but I'm an introvert, so it takes me a while to reach out, actually. But yeah. Yeah, I would say I want to show you the book. There was another session, I already spoke about it shortly. I wrote a little moment out of it. I know you don't have mirror eyes, that's okay. It's called Everything is Figure-Outable, which is basically her mantra that she built her entire business around. There is some sentences that whenever we tell them to ourselves, they will pick us up, they will make us push through, they will make us change direction or change our emotional state. And for her, this is the sentence, everything is figure-outable, which is a sentence her mom always used to tell her. So she wrote a book around this sentence. The thing is, because I'm a trained life coach, she is a trained life coach too. This whole book is based on life coaching principles, which I think it's so amazing. And the chapter I would like to read to you today is about beliefs. I know we spoke about this before, but the thing is, the most important stuff, the good stuff, you will find in so many books. They will come back in different versions, different words, different flavors. They will come back. So this means talking about beliefs, it will come back in my talks over and over again. Because I think it's important in a very, very, very business way. Because as I said, when I saw someone else being able to do, for example, to create this festival, and I was like, oh, if you can do it, I can do it. So I started to believe I can do it. Before, I would never have been able to do it because I didn't even know it was possible. So beliefs play a very, very relevant role in how you create your career and how you create your life. If you believe that you will be the biggest and most successful handstand performer in the world, 100,000%, then you will find a way to become that. I don't say it's 100% going to happen, but unless you actually believe that certain things are possible, there's no way in Earth and also in the universe to make that possible. So the chapter, or part of the chapter that I'm going to read to you today, is The Magic of Belief. I'm not going to read the entire chapter. I'm going to start anyway with the quote. Still, get your notepad and a pen if you don't have it yet, because there's some really good stuff in here and you don't want to miss it. Okay, the first quote is, Alice, this is impossible. The Mad Hatter. Only if you believe it is. Alice in Wonderland. She had this little intro story, which I'm going to skip. I'm going to get straight to the good stuff. Okay. Where are you? The ancestor of every action is a thought. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Look around right now. No, really do it. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stop reading and notice every item within your eyeshot. Become aware of what's in your hands, the devices you have near you, what you're wearing, what you're sitting in or standing on, and any and all objects or structures that surround you. You can do that right now if you want to. Here's what I see. My fingerprint smudged laptop screen, a coffee mug, a wall of wooden kitchen cabinets covered in chicken wire and filled with glasses, vases, and books. A spiral-bound notebook, a few bottles of wine, that's just the obvious stuff. There's a good chance we're both sitting amid a few modern miracles like electricity, indoor plumbing, or Wi-Fi. Do you realize that virtually everything that surrounds us was once only a thought? An idea? A wild, formless figment of someone's imagination? Every movie you've ever seen, every story you've ever heard, every book you've ever read. Every song that's made you sing, dance, or cry has taken a mystical journey from the world of unmanifested to the manifest, from formless idea to concrete reality. These minds, of course, are magical creation of machines. They're the birthplace of every extraordinary experience we've ever encountered and every major breakthrough in human history. Our minds are what gives us the power to manufacture reality, both for ourselves and others. That's because everything in the material world is first created on the level of thought. I'm going to repeat this because that's a good one. Everything in the material world is first created on the level of thought. At 6 years old, I was walking in downtown New York City with my parents. Suddenly, the zinger of a thought popped into my young mind. I'm going to live here one day. This idea was so unquestionable and exciting, I couldn't help but say it out loud. I stopped in the middle of the sidewalk near Blacker and Perry Streets, held my hands in the air and shouted, I'm going to live here when I grow up. Puzzled, my mom said, What are you talking about? We live in New Jersey. That's where you go to school. That's where your friends are. That's where me and daddy are, and that's where you belong. No, Mom, I belong here. When I grow up, I'm going to live here and work here and have my very own apartment right here, you see. Took me 17 years, but eventually I made the idea my reality. In fact, the West Village is the only neighborhood I've called home in nearly 20 years I've lived in New York. Never more than a few short blocks from that original 6-year-old declaration. I bet you've got an idea to reality story too. A time when you had a mere thought about something you wanted to see, do, create, experience, or become, and you eventually did it. Maybe it was a thought about your education, playing a sport or musical instrument, or having a particular career. Maybe it was an idea about something you wanted to make or develop. Maybe it was about traveling to a specific place, learning a skill, having a certain relationship, or starting a business. Maybe it was about healing, maybe it was about healing an addiction or getting out of debt. This was one of mine for sure. Getting out of debt. At first, that idea may have seemed like a long shot. You might have had no clue how to make it happen, or if it was even possible for you. Hi, Syria. But somehow you turned that idea into reality. That's breathtaking power, isn't it? Sadly, it's one of many of us take for granted, which is why it's so important that we remind ourselves. Nothing exists in our world that does not first exist in our mind. That's the universal gift we've been given to help us shape our lives and collectively the world around us. We are born creators with an innate power to bring our ideas and visions into reality. Though admittedly simplified, the process of creation goes something like this. Thought becomes feeling. Feeling becomes behavior. And behavior becomes eventually the result. While this might seem painfully obvious, this formula is one we can easily forget, especially as it relates to things we want to figure out. Beneath our thoughts, however, lies an even deeper force that directs and controls our lives. It's a critical component of creative process, both individually and collectively. In fact, this force shapes our thoughts and feelings. It dictates every aspect of our behavior. How much we sleep, what we choose to eat, what we say to ourselves and others, if and how much we exercise, and what we do with our time and energy. It helps birth our self-worth and our net worth. It impacts our health and fuels our feelings. It determines the quality of our relationships and ultimately whether we lead a life of joy, accomplishment, and contribution, or one of misery, pain, and regret. It's a force that underpins every action we take and how we interpret and respond to the world around us. My battery is almost empty, which is not so great. Let me fix that. Cable is ready. How's that going? I think, listen, we're all winging it here. I might even have to, how are we going to do that? Sorry, guys. Oh, wait. I think I have to tape. Guys, I'm going to tape you to my screen. Because you know when you have the charger on the bottom of your phone? You can't stand it. You can't it's standing up. Stop laughing at me. You know when you have an ex-boyfriend that was a technician and you hoarded all the electric tape? Handy. Listen, guys, I'm taping you to... Sorry, guys. I should maybe not put the tape over the camera. I know, basics. I think the people on YouTube just see my armpit now the whole time. Listen, she's professional. Hey, Major. Voila. Guys, electric tape it is. I used to actually also have nipple tape. It's very multifunctional. Well, this was useful. Let's continue. Everything is figureoutable. There you go. Go with the flow. Find the tape the thing. I'm ready to go. Everything is figureoutable. Yeah, let's continue. We stopped with this very powerful sentence that then suddenly got stopped. It determines the quality of our relationships and ultimately whether we lead a life of joy, accomplishment, and contribution, or one of misery, pain, and regret. It's a force that underpins every action we take and how we interpret and respond to the world. This deeper commanding force is our beliefs. Beliefs are the hidden scripts that run our lives. I want you to write that down. Beliefs are the hidden scripts that run our lives, not that kind of influence our lives. No. That run our lives. Like a track running underneath a train, our beliefs determine where we go and how we get there. But before we start talking about concepts without clearly defining them, let's use this shared definition. A belief is something you know with total and absolute certainty. It's a thought that you've decided, consciously or unconsciously, is the truth. Our beliefs are the root of our reality and our results. Therefore, our creation formula looks more like this. Belief becomes a thought becomes a feeling becomes a behavior, and your behavior ultimately becomes the result. So everything that you want to make is starting with what you believe. In order to solve any problem or achieve any dream, we must first make a change at the level of belief. Because when you change a belief, you change everything. The human body on belief. Oh, I love this one. Turns out, our beliefs control our physical body too. In this excellent book, The Anatomy of Hope, make a note, it's a really good book, by Jeremy Grubman, MD, writes, researchers are learning that a change in mindset has the power to alter neurochemistry. Belief and expectation, the key elements of hope, can block pain by releasing the brain's endorphins and enkephalins, mimicking the effect of morphine. I told you, our bodies, including everything that's in here, not only like the physical body, but how everything is connected, is so incredible. Yeah, I'm blown away every time I read more about this. Intellectually, you know this. Let's say you're hiking in the woods. You catch a glimpse of something long, dark, and S-shaped on the path a few yards ahead. Immediately, your heart races, your palms sweat, and then you tense up. What the fuck? Is this a snake? Your physiology shifts based on a nanosecond belief of possible danger ahead, even if that snake turns out to be a stick. This happens in more subtle ways too. Who hasn't made a whooping headache instantly disappear when someone important calls and pulls our focus in a completely different direction? I certainly have this all the time when I feel miserable and someone calls and I completely forget about it. Or miraculously recovered from a feeling sick or exhausted when an exciting, unmissable invitation appears at the last minute. I'm sure you've heard of placebo effect. If not, it's the idea that if you believe something will help, you will feel better, like Advil. It will. Even if you're just taking a sugar pill. But what about placebo surgery? Just wait until you hear this. Bruce Moseley, an orthopedic surgeon, was skeptical about the benefits of arthroscopic surgery, so he tested it. He conducted a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled clinical trial, the gold standard in scientific research. In the study, some of his patients would receive the full complete knee surgery. Others would get a sham surgery, meaning they'd go through all the motions of real surgery, getting wheeled into the operation room, seeing the doctors in white coats, being put under anesthesia, but only receive a few shallow cuts to their knees and be sent home with a healing protocol and painkillers. 1/3 of the patients who received the real surgery experienced pain relief. But what stunned researchers and that 1/3 of the patients who underwent the sham surgery had the same results. At one point during the study, those having the sham surgery enjoyed better results than those who got the real deal. Here's another example. In 1962, the Kyushu Journal of Medical Science included a stunning report about an experiment focused on 13 boys who were hypersensitive to the leaves of Japanese lacquer trees, which has poison ivy-like effects. With their eyes closed, the 13 boys were told that they were being touched on one arm with the poisonous Japanese lacquer leaves. Unsurprisingly, all 13 boys had a dramatic skin reaction on their arms, including redness, itching, swelling, and blisters. The catch? Their arms were actually touched by the leaves of harmless, non-poisonous plant. Then the researchers reversed the procedure. With their eyes still closed, the 13 boys were told that they were being touched on their other arm by the leaves of a harmless plant. But in reality, those arms were now being touched with the poison ivy-like leaves of the lacquer tree. This time, 11 of the 13 boys showed no allergic skin reaction on their arms. None at all, despite the fact that they were highly sensitive to those rush-producing lacquer leaves. Ultimately, the harmless leaves not only triggered a dramatic skin reaction, but that reaction was greater than the one that produced by the actual poisonous leaves. These intense physical responses simply come down to the monumental power of belief. Pretty good, huh? Beliefs can also enhance our cognitive performance. In a small but insightful experiment, 40 undergraduate students prepared to take a general knowledge test. Before doing so, half the students were told that just before each question, the correct answer would be momentarily and subliminally flashed on a screen in front of them. The authors of the study, Ulrich Wegner and Stephen Longham, write, "We advised them that although they could no longer consciously recognize what was written, The unconscious would still be able to pick up and correct the answer. In truth, no correct answers were subliminally shown to the group of students. What they saw flash on the screen was a random string of letters. The result? Out of two groups of students who took the general knowledge test, the group of students who were primed to believe they were shown the correct answers scored measurably higher on the test than the students who were not. Your beliefs are the master commanders of your behavior and your results. Beliefs control our bodies and how we respond to crises, criticisms, and opportunities. That's a good one at the moment, I think. I mean, freaking global crisis. They tell us what we note. They tell us what to notice, what to focus on, what it means, and what to do about it. The fact that your beliefs shape your reality is undeniable. They affect you physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, intellectually, and culturally. Here's what's important to remember. Long term, your beliefs determine your destiny. Beliefs create your behaviors. The accumulation of those behaviors adds up to your entire life. Pretty good stuff, no? Does it? Just checking how much I want to read to you. Are you still with me? Because when I don't see you, I definitely want to read a little bit more. Yeah, we have 20 more minutes. Yeah, I think it's so important to get this part. Let me see if I can maybe skip forward. Oh yeah, this is something I actually want to skip forward to. Because I had a couple of people saying, but I thought you do career coaching and you do like business advice, and I do all of this. But I run a good business and I am who I am career-wise because I understood this and I use it. It's not only understanding, I use it. I know when I have the wrong belief, or I have techniques to discover limiting beliefs. Because everyone, listen, if I'm going to tell you how to make a website, you can find this anywhere. Like, go on YouTube. I will teach you this as well. But before, that's because when I go back, when I started to be curious about the business side, I figured out that successful people, they have different mindsets. Successful people do things differently. It's not about what they do, but they do them differently. And that's what I tried to figure out. And that's what my interest led me to. And that's why I found so many answers. It's the mindset and the techniques and the belief sets that they hold close to them. So one thing I want to read further is the part, where do beliefs come from? This I found super interesting because in the beginning, when I was not aware yet what beliefs are, I thought that beliefs is reality. I thought that beliefs is the thing that exists. We all have access to the same thing. And if I believe it, then it must be true. I didn't know that we learn them. I didn't know that we can take them. We can give them back. They have been given to us. We were too young to actually notice this, so we just took them. We still hold some beliefs from when we were 6 years old, and we actually act on them, even though we're maybe 42 or 36 or 28. And when I found this out, I was like, ooh, no. I want to find them, and I'm going to take them and say, thank you very much for joining and for sticking around for way too long, but you're not paying your rent. You're going out. So where do our beliefs come from? She was crying uncontrollably. She hung up the phone, bent down so her eyes were even with mine. She grabbed my shoulders, shook me, and said, don't ever, ever, ever let a man control your life. You need to make your own money. You need to control your own money. Don't be stupid like me. Don't make the same mistakes I've made. Do you hear me? Do you see what's happening to me right now? After all these years, I have nothing. Nothing. That's what my mom said to me the day she and my father signed their divorce papers. I was 8. Once she let go, she put her head in her hands and sobbed. I stood there, frozen and terrified in our kitchen. I didn't know how to make things better or when I would see my dad again. Everything felt unstable and unsafe. Why is my mom crying? How can I make things better and get my dad back? What can I do to make sure that something like this is never happening again? One thing was clear. I knew my parents weren't fighting about drugs or alcohol or gambling. It was about money. Always money. Specifically, my mom having no control over it, and more broadly, that there was never enough to go around. All I wanted was a way to get my family back together. Unwittingly, a powerful set of beliefs about money, men, and how the world worked began to take shape within me. Those beliefs sounded like this: not enough money means massive stress, pain, and suffering. Not enough money means losing love, security, connection, and family. Giving a man control over your money means being stupid and powerless. Giving anyone control over your life, ultimate regret and distress. Obviously, those beliefs aren't the truth, but as an 8-year-old, they were ideas that I had decided were significant and true. I came to those conclusions by listening to what I heard from adults and from absorbing the emotions and circumstances I found myself in. Some of our most pivotal beliefs are forged during significant emotional experiences, many of which happen in our childhood. The more heightened and penetrating these emotions, the more likely it is that they'll shape our lives. While standing in the kitchen with my mom, I made myself the deepest promise I've ever made. Somehow, someday, I'd figure out a way to make so much money that the lack of it would never take love away again. I don't understand. Is my battery empty again? It's okay, it's low battery mode. We're almost done anyway. I hope. Sorry, I don't know until when you heard. Well, I'm back now. While standing in the kitchen with my mom, I made myself the deepest promise I've ever made. Somehow, someday, I figure out a way to make so much money that the lack of it would never take away love again. The stress and instability caused by this scarcity of money was intolerable, so my goal was to have an abundance of it. So this means we maybe learned something when we were freaking 8-year-old, and it doesn't mean that it's the truth right now, but we act and behave on it. Which is weird. Like because why? I thought, why would I? I'm sure that can't be true because I grew up. I learned so much about my own situation with money and all these things. And I was like, but then once I realized what my beliefs are, because you listen to your subtitles a little bit, you find these sentences that you tell yourself, and you're like, oh my God, I'm telling myself this. And this is obviously something that is hindering me from going to where I want to go. I'm on a pretty intense journey when it comes to finance, coming from having a lot of debts. I grew up with a very bad education when it comes to finance. Bad, not in the sense that no one cared about me, but more it wasn't not a topic in our family. So I was very ill-equipped in how to deal with money, how to make money. I was only equipped with the belief that if you have money, you are a bad person. So this is a belief I found, and I was shocked because I never made money, and I kept, whenever I made money, I spend it straight away. I never saved money. So because what we do, how we function unconsciously, if we believe something, we will do everything to prove this truth right. So another belief of me was like, I am a good person. So if money means being not a good person, I always had to make sure I don't have money. And when my dreams became bigger, that involved having different financial resources, I had to really sit down and understand what beliefs do to me, and that actually, if I don't replace them or recognize them first, I will never, ever be able to get to where I want. And this is why I'm telling you so deeply to listen to what you tell yourself, to understand what you believe, um, and to recognize it as something that you take and that you can replace. Even like, of course, it is our truth, but it's still, you can still change it if it's something that affects you negatively. Why this is important in your business? If you dream of a massive, massive thing, but a belief is hindering you and you don't even know about it. It could be a financial belief. It could be, I don't know. For example, if you believe that you never make good connections with people and your biggest dream is to have the biggest touring show in the world, you see the problem here. You need to believe that you can connect easily and joyfully and with deep connections to people that will help you to create that thing. Whatever it is that you tell yourself you're not, you cannot do, you cannot have, you cannot be, this is where you have to investigate a little bit. And this will come with time. You'll get so much better with this. Just keep listening to yourself. And of course, it's hard to do this by yourself. So of course, I would highly recommend to get this book, because it's a mix and a mashup of a lot of things. And it's a good starter pack for a lot of things that a mindset, to build a good mindset, are necessary for that. And the basic, and that's a basic of career, that's a basic of life coaching, is even of career coaching. You would never immediately go like, okay, what do you want to do? Let's work on it. You would then work with your client and understand that he or she is actually not there's a belief in the way for that person to go from where they're now to where they want to go. Hey, Tix. And you can do that to an extent with yourself. It's just a consciousness training you have to do. You don't have to do it, but you can do if you want to. And it's funny. I'm telling you, I found lately, like I see myself like a little detective when I listen to myself. I write a lot in order to understand more my thoughts, to be even more aware of my thoughts. And what was the one? I found one about food, because I said this 100,000 times, but I really want to buy my own house. It's a quite new dream, but and I have to change my entire belief system about finance even more, and about how I spend money, in order to save more. So I checked how I spend my money again, and I was like, there's something around food that always fucks me over. I was like, I'm so angry. So I was like, cool. I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna change my spendings. I'm just gonna recognize them for a month. Put that in, and then I found this belief. I maybe said this already in another video. I was like, ha! Found you. I'm gonna take you like a rotten tooth. I'm gonna throw you away. My belief was, because I only had 25 freaking pounds to eat per week in university, I said, I will never, ever save on food again. There we go. And this was the belief that was in the way of me putting a budget for my food and being okay with it. And now I recognize it, I took it, I threw it away, and I put a new one there. That's also really important. I have enough money to eat. 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 This is how I'm going to the grocery store. I have enough money to eat. And suddenly I only buy the things that I need. And I don't need to have all the things. I could never buy meat. It was too expensive. I could never nurture myself well enough for 8 hours training a day. It was really freaking tough. And so I said, I dreamed of a life where I can go to a grocery store and I don't have to look how much I spend. It was it meant freedom to me. So not buying everything I want meant losing my freedom. But of course, this was relevant 6 years ago. It's not relevant anymore. I have enough money. I make enough money. I know not enough about nutrition. And So I had to replace that. And since then, this is one I removed, and it really allowed me to feel relaxed about finance in that corner. So it's an intuition thing as well, to detect your limiting beliefs. But just play with it, have fun, and just listen to yourself. And usually when there's something, usually it involves the words never, can't, never ever, don't, some negative, then just write it down, make it yourself, say it out loud. Because often the moment you say it out loud, you're like, really? Really, myself? Really? This is what you're saying is bullshit. So just have fun with that. Today, my question is not only for today, but until next week, or actually for the rest of your life would be ideal, to listen to yourself and to detect these limiting beliefs that, that really kick you in the legs. We don't need them. And my question for you today is, what is your favorite book? What is your favorite book that when you read it, changed the way you think and changed the way you are? Because that's the whole thing.